Hey everyone, it's Jakov, and I'm here today with yet another battle replay for Total War The Dawnless Days. In today's video, we're going to have a battle replay sent in by Ellan Enish, one of my subscribers, who's recently sent in a couple battle replays, and I have to say, thanks again mate for sending them in, I massively appreciate it. In today's battle, he's going to be fielding an army of Mordor against his co-player, Lyra, who I believe is fielding an army of Lindon. If any of you guys want to send in any battle replays for me to cover, feel free to send them into my either the Rise of Mordor Discord, and I can just receive them there, or send them into my channel's email, which is linked in the channel description. So there we have it. We're actually going to put the battle into slow motion so we can check out both armies and see how they're going, and yeah, we'll just check them out now. So this army over here is, yep, a Lindon force of Lyras, I believe, and by God do they look awesome. Also, the map, just for any of you guys interested, is the Barrow-downs map. A very important location in the Lord of the Rings books, although I believe it's skipped over in the films. So looking at the Noldoran army, you've got a force of Noldoran spears, the elite tier 3 gold, well, they're silver tier infantry, but they're golden armoured elves. So you've got a force of their spear infantry on the front line. You've then got a couple of units of the Noldoran swords, which are their shock infantry. And then at the back of their army, you've got a unit of onagers providing field support, or at least artillery support. Got a couple more units of the Noldoran swords. In the centre of the line, you've got a lot of the units of Noldoran swords. And then, finally, on their flank, you've got the units of the very elite melee infantry, the Shipwrights Nobles. You've got 3 units of those providing an armoured fist, with the general unit also being one of them. This is a very elite army, and most of the units, if not all of them, have 3 gold chevrons. So yeah, this is about as elite as you can go. Looking at the man count, there's only 1100 of them compared to 2300 orcs of Mordor. Turning to the Mordor force, it is, well, it's larger for starters, and it's also quite professional. So in the front lines, they've got the Uruk Throng, their own tier 3 professional infantry, although even on a bad day, these guys wouldn't, or even on a good day, these guys wouldn't be able to stand up to the Noldoran swordsmen, but with all those chevrons, it's really going to be difficult. So yeah, you've got a couple of units of these guys in the front line, then providing their support and their second line, you've got the Orc Pikemen. So these guys aren't as professional, but still quite lethal. Then behind them, you've got a couple of units of the Uruk Spears, so they're heavy spear infantry. On the flank, you've got a unit of the Morgul Legion, their heavy polearm infantry, which looks absolutely amazing. There's that mirrored on the other side, yep, another unit of them over there. A unit of the Orc Pillagers, their low tier shock infantry, not too bad. And then, yeah, another unit of those guys. And then on the far flank, they've got 2 units of the elite Olog High Trolls. So these guys are absolutely going to be a battle winner as far as I'm concerned, tearing through units. They also seem to be lacking any... what are they called? Oh, wait, no, the army's in 2 parts, is it? So it is. I thought the Mordor force looked a bit weird. And then on the far side of the battle, Mordor has 3 units of the Servants of the Eye, so they're elite cavalry. Very cool. And then their general unit is the Witch King himself, leading a unit of, well, more Servants of the Eye. And there he is, with his amazing armoured helmet. So yeah, they've split their army into 2 parts. One cavalry force on the far right side, and the rest of their infantry in one big blob. Yeah, very interesting. So one thing you'll note is that the Mordor army lacks any range support, and it doesn't even have artillery, whereas the Lindon army is lacking any archers at all, but also lacks cavalry too, but has the addition of artillery. So yeah, they're quite balanced in different ways. Yeah, very interesting. I'm tempted to see how this will go. I love this, just seeing the men, well, the elves take up position in the fog. That looks sick. This is definitely going to be screenshot material in the future. So yeah, absolutely amazing. So the cavalry is swarming around to this side. Infantry is advancing up there. I'm going to put into fast forward actually, so we can kind of see how both sides progress. So, cause from what I can see from here, the elves are just hiding inside the forest, letting the cavalry come on their flank. We'll actually speed it up even more. The artillery is being brought in. The cavalry's taken up position. It's quite nice. They're now sending out their spearmen to take up position around the artillery. And hang on, the cavalry has charged. And they are all in... I forget the name of this formation. Is it... Yeah, wedge shape, that's it. Wedge shaped formation. I was thinking of something different. I was thinking of boar or swinehead's formation, which is the exact same thing. But I think that's an infantry formation more so than anything else. As for the story behind this battle, that'd be an interesting one to come up with. How an army of Mordor led by the Witch King would be fighting an army of Lindon out at the Barrow-downs. Maybe you could argue this is kind of like a remake of the Wars of Angmar between the Kingdom of Angmar and the remnants of Arnor, because I know that the elves fought in that war, so you could maybe spin it like that. So yeah, their cavalry is more or less just harassing them, taking up position. We might speed it up a bit to see how things go. Actually, said it's an ambush, but I fail to see where the ambushing part of the battle is happening. Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird. I don't know. There's a lot of maneuvering for no apparent reason as far as I can tell. If I had been in charge of Lindon, I probably would have fallen back to that crest and used that as a defensive position to rain down death with the artillery. But, what do I know? Because now, their spearmen look like they're about to be caught out. Like, this... I don't know. It's an interesting way of doing things. Yep, now they're charging in. Now they're behind. See, this is not a good idea. And just like that, the first blood is drawn. And these elite spearmen are going to be caught out and massacred. However, the shock infantry has joined in, killed a couple of the cavalry. This is very much a running battle. You've got a long column, and yeah, the general's been caught out, the shipwrights nobles. This is not good at all. However, you could now pin down and kill the Witch King, which might suit your purposes. And here you just got an entire advancing column. It is beautiful seeing men in silk, and the artillery is opening fire. I would not risk that in this situation. Also, I think they may or may not have just wasted their artillery, because if I was Mordor, I'd just charge in and kill them right now. We're going to have to skip there to see the column approach. This is a kind of, I wouldn't say suicidal plan, but it's not exactly what I'd call the most tactically... Oh, I don't even know. It's not exactly a very multi-tiered plan that they've set out for themselves. And here we go. And already you can see the size difference between the elves and the orcs. Gold versus grey, a bit of a reversal of the black versus silver we saw before. I swear the lighting in this game is just... there's something about it. I will say, a horde of shock infantry attacking like that isn't a bad idea. Pulling back and overshooting my bounds, it seems. We have the battle raging over here, and yeah, the shipwrights nobles aren't having a good time of it. Surprisingly. Who would have thought? Honestly, yeah. At this point I would start using the artillery to blow these guys away. Yeah, I'm going to jump to the front lines over here and see how this is going. Wow, that lagged horrifically. Good God, that was bad. And the shock infantry has met the pikes. Seem to be doing quite well. They've swung around this way, they've caught them out. However, they've left themselves kind of wide for these guys. If they charge them, that's going to be a bloodbath. But they're pinning them down more or less. It is cool just seeing elves go through orcs like a knife through hot butter. Here we've got a shock infantry fight. Who is being killed? Which general? Yep. Lindon's general is dead. They've wasted essentially their best infantry in this little match. I got no clue why they would have done that. They brought up just one unit of spearmen and sent them in. They'd have won. And now, yeah, the servants of the eye polished off the artillery. They're coming back around to knock these guys out. This was a very bad idea. I have no idea what could have persuaded him to go this would have been a good idea. And now you hear the elephant cry, and in they go, and yeah, I knew this was coming. Yeah, I've got a just slight sneaking suspicion that it's going to be Mordor taking the day today. You know, just a small feeling about that. Yeah, the orc pikes are about to shatter, but I don't know. This doesn't seem like it's going to go well. And if the cavalry comes around, even worse. And they're going to cycle charge him. Very smart. This is smart. Going to come back in again. The only hope they've got of stopping this is a counter charge. See, they've broken their weaker units, but even so, I don't think that's really going to be enough. Put in a slow motion for a bit, so the infantry fighting against each other. Cool to watch. We can see just the absolute chaos. And here comes the cavalry. Just on time. There goes the Witch King himself slaughtering some elves. And we speed it up. And just like that, you're going to break a unit. The rest of the cavalry's coming in too. And yes, this is going to be a mopping up action. There's barely any elves left. Quite brutal, all things considered. And still the Witch King patrols, and Jesus, just look at the amount of corpses scattered here. It's not many, but seeing elves of that caliber die like this is... it's not the best. Close victory? I don't really know about that. Well, yeah, it's a victory for Ellan Enish and Mordor, but I'd say this is more of a heroic victory than anything else. Maybe close, maybe not, I'm not too sure. Anyway, we'll finish off the replay, and as we do, we'll check out the two different armies and see how they did. So, looking at Ellan Enish's army, the player's name was Pyra, not Lyra. I'm so sorry about that. I thought it was Lyra. Okay, Pyra. So going back to Ellan Enish's army, obviously larger, he lost over 1100 soldiers, came out of a 1250 remaining, so over half. Looking at his units individually, the Witch King did great, getting 130 kills. The Uruk Throng did pretty poorly, which is to be expected given they were fighting elite shock infantry. The Orc Pillagers, again, didn't do the worst in the world, given that they're even a lower tier than anything else in that army build, but still not great. Uruk Spears didn't do great. Morgul Legion did good, getting 126 kills. Guards of the Teeth got 57. I didn't even realise he had Guards of the Teeth in his army. Wow, must have skipped over that. The Pikemen did poorly. The Servants of the Eye didn't do well. They got about 84 and 70 kills. However, those were against the elite forces of Lindon, so I can kind of see them being worth it. And then the Olog Higher Peace didn't get that many kills, but it was more their impact on the battlefield that kind of determined things. Looking at Pyra's army, Pyra only had 170 soldiers left by the end of the battle. And in terms of Pyra's units, the general unit and the other shipwrights nobles did abysmally, but then again they were misused fighting against cavalry. Looking at the Noldor soldiers made up the bulk of the army. This unit got 166 kills, very good. This unit got 140, 123, 111, 150. That's quite good. The spearmen did quite poorly, which again, if you were going for an offensive army, you shouldn't have brought spearmen, but if you did bring spearmen, their best use would have been against the enemy cavalry, so I kind of don't get that. And then the Onager did abysmally, only getting 7 kills. So there we have it, people. A battle replay of a clash on the open field between Mordor and Lindon, with it being a resounding victory for Mordor. If you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please make sure to like and subscribe. We are a small channel here, so it would mean the world. Also, again, as I said at the beginning of the video, if you do want to send in battle replays, feel free to send them in either directly to my email, which is linked in my channel description, or send it over the Rise of Mordor, or should I say the Dawnless Days, Discord server. With all that said, this is your host Jakov, signing out.